Goal! Right, this video is about getting our game to recognise when the ball goes across the goal line here that we have scored a goal. Now, we're not actually going to be adding like text on here to say that it's 1-0, 2-0, that type of thing. We're just going to get it so when the ball gets knocked over that line there, but it recognises that a goal has been scored and a sound will play and our chicken and ball will get reset back into the position they are there. Now, you might have noticed, but I've got all these awful white things around the outside of my pitch at the moment. Now, these are basically the outlines, the touch lines, the goal line, and so on. And these odd-looking ones in the corner here are basically to cover the corner flag. Now, what I found in the last video, when I was taking the ball up into the corner, once I did just the touchline and goal lines and not these angled ones, the ball would kind of get stuck in the corner. So that's just to make sure the ball bounces back out. So each of these, so including top touchline all the way down to bottom left corner, they've all got a box collider on them. So just make sure yours do as well. Now to get rid of them, or to the point of we can't actually see them, on Sprite Renderer where it says color, I'm just going to change the transparency down to 0 and press enter. We can still see they're there, but they're not actually visual at all. Right, so first thing we're going to do is actually put another box here behind the goal line. So when a ball gets knocked into it, it will register or something will kind of like trigger to say that, yep, that's been hit, goal has been scored. So I just need to add in quite quickly, or quite simply I should say, a 2D object, a sprite and a square, which will get chucked right in that position there. I'm going to drag it right way across. We're going to call it right goal. It doesn't matter what you call it, but that's what I've decided to. And I'm going to double click on it here in the hierarchy to actually zoom in a little bit. In fact, let me just scroll a little bit out so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to move this into the position so it's actually at the back of the goal. And I'm just going to resize it so it does cover the entire width of the goal as well. And I'm just going to drag it back that way. Right, so I'm going to make this transparent as well because we don't actually want to see it. And before I go any further with this, I am actually going to have to add a tag to this, so it's called right goal or called something then. So when a ball kind of runs into something called right goal, then it will trigger the code we wanted to do. Oh yeah, and I haven't added a box collider. So let me do that first. So if I go to add component and type in box, so instead of me having to go through the menus, I can find everything which has got box in it that way. So it's a 2D box collider, and I need to tick is trigger. That's quite crucial you do that, because if it's not ticked, it means the code which is kind of going to be referring to it won't be able to get run. So just make sure that's ticked in this case. You don't have to do on any of the boxes you put on or the squares you put on. It's just if there's some code which needs to be run. Right, and as I said, last thing I'm going to do is add a tag, which I've already done, called right goal. So you'd go to add tag, you'd press plus and so on and do it that way. Because I've already got it set up, I'm just clicking on a right goal and we're good to go. Now, the code we need to do actually needs to be on our ball, because basically the ball, and I don't know what that sound effect is over the top of it, when the ball goes over the line, it's then going to generate that code. So we're going to add a new script, and I'm just going to call it go, because that's what I'm going to call it. Now, nothing else comes up because it recognizes that's not in the list of things which are on that menu. So it's making the assumption that I want to add a new script. I basically want to do my own code, which I do. So I press new script, press create and add, and then goal will get generated here for us, and you can see there's the code already there for us to edit. Now, we will need to go and open it up in Visual Studio. I don't know what's going on there. I mean, I think it's just having a moment to save things as we're going along. And that's what the code looks like, so I can edit it here. Now, just as before, I've actually got code, which I'm just going to bring across from here. So you can see we've already got the top bits already sorted for us. And I'm just going to highlight what I need, not that bottom bracket down there. And I'm going to paste it over these lines here. Right, so void start is empty, and I've deliberately done that because that's something which is going to be used in a future video, and that's what we're going to use to kind of put up the score on the screen as and when the players or the away team do score. And just to talk through this bit first of all, we'll come to this a little bit later. So the idea is, when the ball hits something called right goal, when it collides with it, we're going to have a sound file called score playing, or something we're referring to as score playing. We're going to have the ball go into this position, and that's basically the center spot of the game. The ball is also going to stop moving because if the ball kind of hits the goal at a speed, when it actually gets respawned into this position, it will carry on at that speed. So that basically makes it stop. The player then, the chicken, will get put into this position and it will make sure it's facing the right direction as well. So basically saying that the player will face the right. That's what that line of code does. So what it basically does, it resets the game. So we're back at the starting point and able to do another kickoff to start the game again. So if I just press Control S to save it, come back onto here. We'll make sure that there's no error messages. Generally, when it comes up as hold on, it means that there's nothing wrong with the code we put in. And eventually we'll get to that state where we can actually maybe even start playing the game. But we can't at this stage because on our ball where the code is, so we've got the player, we need to tell what it is the player, so we're dragging it from here across. And it's also saying what is that source, that audio file. So we've got this goal screen basically, an audio file I brought in on a previous video. I need to add an empty, which I'm going to call score. Goal would probably be better actually. I'm then just going to drag up and just zoom out because last time I tried doing this one a little bit bonkers. The audio file, so it is in score and it appears here. Now I don't want it to play on awake, I only want it to play when we actually score the goal. So I think apart from dragging this across to here, because we just kind of set that score up and that's where that sound file is, onto this to say, but this is the sound file I want you to play, I think we're kind of good to go. So now when I press play and play the game, it'll start off with a whistle. I'll be able to kick the ball around the pitch. But if I actually get it inside this right goal box or collide with this right goal box, and I'll just go run straight across the pitch with it. Great. So it shouts goal, and then it chucks us back into the middle of the pitch then. So the ball is not moving anymore, but it's back in the middle. The chicken is facing to the right and is ready to start again. The only problem is, though, that's quite quick, and I want a little delay for it to register that a goal is scored, almost like, so, yeah, I've scored, so you can get your breath back, and then come back to this middle part here. And obviously, it'd be really nice to have something up in the top left-hand corner to give a score, like a home team, how many goals they scored, the away team, how many goals they've scored as well, and a timer at some stage. So maybe that's what we'll come on to next.